I'm Riley Anderson with Freestone Senior Connect and Freestone Mortgage. I'm here with my grandma, Ginger, in Issaquah, Washington. Today we're going to go over some questions and learn about aging, see what wisdom we have to pass down to the next generation. So let's get into it. Thank you for being here. What invention in your lifetime still amazes you?
Oh, it's definitely got to be the internet. It just absolutely blows my mind
Yeah.
that I can come up with the weirdest questions. Judy and I'll be having a conversation and I'll say, why is that? How that all gets in there that they're going to know somebody's going to ask that question absolutely blows my mind. It is beyond my comprehension.
Talk to me about working pre-internet and post-internet. You were around for both and got to see the changes.
Oh, yes.
Changes in efficiency, changes in
Yes.
processes. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, the mortgage business was totally different. I used to do closing statements by hand. I had to know how to hand figure prorated taxes,
Yeah.
everything. And I actually helped write the first computerized program for closing documents for the mortgage business.
Yep.
Now it's like no brainer. You just,
It's all automated.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was also in on it when we had floppy disk, when we were still DOS. I had to go to school to learn Windows.
Yeah.
When we switched from DOS to window mechanisms to do our closing instruments. So it was quite a technology jungle and hayride
Yeah.
throughout the years.
What were some differences that you noticed pre-post internet as well with how loans were originated?
There'd be loans in the system for 90 days.
Right.
It was all paper, and back then they didn't even have photocopy machines, so it was very different, very laborious, overkill on paperwork.
Yeah. Is there something you would want to tell your 25-year-old self, or a piece of advice that you would give them?
A piece of advice and something that I had to learn myself, and I don't see young people today believing in this. That is, Riley, that you are in control of yourself
Yeah.
and your future. Only you can succeed or fail.
Yeah.
There are no outside influences that do it to you. You either set yourself up for success or you set yourself up for failure.
They're both a choice.
They're a choice.
What's one thing the younger generation gets wrong about the older generation?
I don't see that they realize the hard work that it took to get there. Young people today take things for granted that it's just going to fall in their lap.
Yeah, the hard work it takes to retire.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. What were some of the biggest worries or concerns you had before the reverse mortgage? You're going to be different because you worked in the industry and you knew the product more than the average consumer would.
Not about the reverse itself, but what prompted me to get the reverse
Yeah.
was I had my annuities.
Yeah.
I was going to be on a fixed income, and I was property rich and cash poor. No one knows how long they're going to live. And I thought, geez, if I've got to start going through my annuities and my IRAs and to be able to afford live a decent life, I don't want that. And I only had a small balance left on a first. And we did my late husband and I did a remodel on our home, a substantial remodel. So I had a equity loan also to pay off. So I knew I was going to be on a fixed income. I had payments to make. What if I needed a new furnace? What if I needed a new umbrella? Where is that going to come from? I made the decision to go ahead with the reverse to free up my monthly payments, get rid of those payments, take the cash and put it place where I can draw on it, which you can with the reverse, and just take out what you need when you need it. And everything that could break right after that. I needed, and I didn't have to get into my principal. My financial advisor had set me up very well with my retirement accounts and annuities and all that. And I knew I wouldn't have to touch that. I was naturally thinking about inheritance for my children. I didn't want it to disappear. And in my 45 to 50-year career, only once did I ever see property values decline. And that was my major decision was, even if I take some of that equity that was sitting there, which is quite substantial, it is still increased in value to the point where I still, even taking out that reverse, I still have the amount of equity that I had when I did that way back when.
What's the most rebellious or spontaneous thing you've ever done in your life?
I have a work-related one that's fun.
I'd love to hear it.
Being a single working mother, raising two children, I had an opportunity for a job I very much wanted. And I had already interviewed with the president of the company. They were a company that was coming in from out of state and had no idea how to do business in this state. He wanted to hire me on the spot, and I went, nope, I have to see what happens in your head office to know what I'm going to face when I first start doing business. And he flew me down to California, and I met with the Wicked Witch of the West, who was proceeding to tell me how I was going to do business. And the most spontaneous, rebellious thing I ever did, because I wanted this job, I needed this job. It was a beautiful opportunity for me, not just financially, but professionally. And I stood there and I looked at her and I took my briefcase and I put my papers in the briefcase and snapped the lid. And I said to her, when Mr. Jacobs gets out of his meeting, would you please tell him, thank you for the plane ride, but I'm no longer interested in the position. But he was so impressed that I was committed to what I was doing. He hired me on the spot, and I worked for them for over 10 years, and it was probably one of the best jobs in my whole career that I had.